Hi, this is Kurt coming to you Thursday, the 18th of August, in an effort to supplement the assignment description for the drama essay, which in effect is the final exam for the course. There is an assignment on the 16th, day 16. Um, that's going to be Thursday of next week, the 25th. But that is going to be essentially you do it or you don't do it. That's the response to the field trip. Um, Again, look at that under day 16, and you should have already turned in your field trips permission forms, aka removal of liability forms. Um, I think I have two that have yet to be turned in because the individuals were out on Tuesday of this week. So please get that from me and fill that out um, as soon as possible. So day 15, if you click on your on the sidebar on your course page, what you're going to see there is the description for the drama essay. Again, this is in effect the final exam for the course. It's very heavily weighted. I've done this on purpose because I, as you hopefully know by now, I tend to reward creativity, ingenuity, forward thinking, etc. And this assignment speaks to all of those areas. So my hope is, and indeed from what I've seen in previous months, that the vast majority of you will do very well. So what I recommend that you do, if you haven't already read through the assignment description, is that you pause this video and then you read through the assignment description on your own, and then you return to the video because I'm going to go through it here, and then after I go through it on the video, stop the video and read it again. If at that time you still have questions about how to go about this assignment, please contact me. I am going to be in class tonight on the 18th. I will give instructions and insight into the assignment then tonight. I will be out Tuesday. You will have a sub who is more than capable of helping you with crafting your the content of the assignment, but in terms of the trajectory of the assignment, the what I'm asking for, my expectations, etc. I refer you to this video. Okay, so the basic premise of this is that hypothetically, you have been given the opportunity to remake, represent, update, if you will, a drama piece of your choice, comedy, tragedy. Although the prompt says Shakespeare, I have extended this to beyond Shakespeare, so outside of Shakespeare, if you so choose. You can choose any form of drama, and your task is to create a proposal for producing this hypothetical piece for a contemporary audience. Now, the contemporary audience is a contemporary audience of your choosing. So, if you want to focus on children, you would identify that. If you want to focus on 18 to 25 year olds in San Antonio in 2016, you would want to focus on that. If you want to focus on non-English speakers or ESL people, you would want to focus on that. If you want to focus on any particular demographic, you would identify that. The point is that you would also need to identify why it is that this demographic needs to receive this piece. Okay, what they would have to gain from it. how it would enhance their lives, and so forth. Um, so those are your primary tasks, and what I've done is I've given you a an outline form, a scaffolding, if you will, for how to go about doing this. Now, what I would actually do if I were creating this project for myself is I would use the particular Roman numeral um, designations in the actual essay. So in other words, I would actually have Roman numeral 1 introduction, and then I would write my introductory paragraphs, Roman numeral 2 theme, and then I would discuss the theme, etc. So I would, just to keep everything organized, I would actually use those Roman numeral designations in the actual essay. Okay? Minimally, you want to have one paragraph per Roman numeral per section. Sometimes it's going to be more than that. Basically, depending on, just like with any kind of essay, depending on how much you need to say to substantiate your point, to show that you have an idea, a substantial idea, and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow down the line here with the different Roman numerals to kind of give you a more detailed idea as to how to go along. So the first Roman numeral we see on the course, the assignment rather, is introduction. So underneath introduction I've written, obviously you're going to want to identify which play you are in effect deconstructing and why a contemporary version of this play needs to be produced. So the main thing, this in essence is the thesis for your essay. You're going to indicate what piece you want to address, remake, update, make accessible, however you want to term it, why you've chosen this particular piece, what audience you're targeting, and why it's necessary for this piece to be done in the way you're suggesting to reach this particular audience. Okay, those items need to be addressed in the introduction. Okay, again, it's your thesis for your essay. If I'm evaluating this and I don't, by the end of the introductory paragraph or introductory section, if you've got multiple paragraphs there, if I don't understand what it is that you're working with and the premise for working with that particular piece, then I'm going to be at a loss. Okay, so you definitely don't want that. Now, the second Roman numeral I have identified is theme. And I write here, discuss the themes from Shakespeare's work that you plan to carry through to your own version. So, again, I'm not limiting it to Shakespeare. But, for instance, if you were going to talk about Macbeth, for instance, an example of a theme in Macbeth would be gender and power differential. Okay, another example of a theme in Macbeth would be tyrant versus benevolent ruler. Okay, another idea would be, or another way to phrase that would be Macbeth as a study in evil, because as we saw in Macbeth, he, for lack of better phrasing, sort of degenerates from this admirable war hero into a would-be Joseph Stalin, paranoid, bent on tyranny, etc. So those are some examples of some themes. Another Shakespeare play that with which a lot of people are familiar is Romeo and Juliet. So a theme from Romeo and Juliet may be, what is love actually? What is the difference between love and infatuation? those are examples of themes. Okay, so you're going to talk about the theme of the original piece, the piece written by Shakespeare or by whomever the original piece was written, and you're going to talk about why those themes are important, and why you want to carry those themes through in your updated version. Okay, and again, you want to emphasize the audience with whom you are working, with whom the audience you are targeting. So you want to talk about how those particular themes might relate to that audience that you have identified previously in the introductory section. Okay, and again, for each paragraph, for each section, you're going to want to have minimum one paragraph. Okay, for theme, you might do one paragraph per theme. That would not be unheard of. That would not be out of the question. Okay, so the third area, the third Roman numeral, is medium and setting. So I've written here, identify which medium you are. And there's a typo in the original assignment description. It's got the wrong "you're" in there. I had a professor that used to give everybody a nickel for identifying typos. However, nobody's identified that to me, and secondly, I don't have enough nickels. But anyway, I am pointing out to you that I, your instructor, am indeed capable of making typos, as you have probably noticed previously in the term. Okay, so, but I digress. So, identify which medium you're using to for the production and why. This could be a traditional stage production, a musical, a film, an anime, etc. Discuss the setting of your version. Discuss why it does or doesn't differ from the original. How your choice appeals to the community, contemporary audience that you've identified. Okay, an anime of Macbeth set in feudal Japan sounds really cool, but how does it convey the themes you've previously identified? That's the question you need to answer with regard to medium and setting. If you want to remove, significantly change, or conflate characters, you would discuss the rationale for that related to your stated theme and setting here as well. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth is a lesbian power couple, anyone? Okay. So, in other words, I don't care how off the wall you get with your setting. If you want to have, Macbeth set in Mos Eisley Spaceport, you can do that. I'm a big fan of out there, but there needs to be a specific rationale for doing it the way that you're proposing to do it. So if you want to do, Macbeth is a Western, right? Why does this particular piece lend itself to that, given the audience that you're trying to reach? Okay, I need to know your thought process behind what you're doing. Okay, like for instance, in the Patrick Stewart version of Macbeth that we referenced in class, the director of that particular piece takes a great deal of effort in equating Macbeth with a post-World War II Joseph Stalin, to the point of having the characters eat borscht in the dining room scene and dance to Russian music, having Macbeth's portrait portrayed and rendered in typically Stalinist Leninist fashion, adding in clips of army parades and so forth. So, in other words, why would you use the setting that you want to use? What are you trying to accomplish with that? That's what I need to know. Okay. So I'll just give you a few examples of what some people have done in previous semesters. Frankly, the one of the most interesting ones that I've seen, and one that I think could actually be produced. And, these guys could sell it. Would be the Sci-Fi Channel or something. Would be they did Romeo and Juliet as a beer war in Appalachia, or rather, not a beer war, but a moonshine war in Appalachia. So you had two competing factions who were feuding over moonshine, and you had, of course, one fall in love with the other on the other side, and these guys worked this out with incredible detail. They had theme music for each character, and so forth, and really put a lot into it. And in so doing, really understood the nuances of Romeo and Juliet. And that's the real point behind this assignment, is that if you're going to deconstruct something, if you're going to do a riff on it, that requires you to really understand the nuances of what's going on. So that's really kind of my overall rationale behind assigning this, and it beats doing a full-on traditional essay the last few days of the term, right? So, but for getting back to my original point for Roman numeral 3, what I need to know here is, what setting are you going to use? Are you going to change any of the major characters, or add in any additional characters, and so on and so forth? And if you're going to do that, why? What purpose does it serve? How does that help to bring forth and your themes that you've identified, that you want to talk about, that you want to highlight in your version? Secondly, if you change the setting from the original, why are you doing that? Again, how does it appeal to your audience? How does it communicate the themes that you are attempting to communicate? The same is true for medium. When I mean medium, I'm talking about print, video, stage production, so on. So if you want to do this as a traditional stage play, talk about how this traditional stage play will appeal to your audience that you're trying to reach. Okay, if you want to do a film, talk about how the film might appeal to the audience that you're trying to reach. If you, like in the example that I give in the discussion, in the assignment description, if you want to do an anime, if you were going to do something like that, then talk about why that particular medium is accessible to the audience that you've identified. Okay, so Roman numeral 4 is plot, scene, and dialogue. So, and I have this written in the assignment descriptions. Okay, before I lose you, you are not writing a script for the production. Here you'll be talking about types of changes to the dialogue you would make and which scenes you would emphasize, even those you would add or cut to better convey the identified themes for your target audience. So again, the focus is on the target audience. How are you going to adjust the dialogue, adjust the scenes, etc., to captivate this audience? For some of you, it may be that you want to take Shakespeare's language and make it contemporary. Try to be more specific than that. in other words, if you are going to set your piece in San Antonio, would you um, emphasize Mexican American English in your dialogue, right? And so forth. Okay. Um, if you're going to change up a scene in any way, um, talk about why you're doing that. And it may be that you need to change up a scene or something to accommodate the medium that you're using. So, for instance, I watched an interview with the late Ray Harryhausen, and he deals mainly with myth and folktale and epic literature, and bringing that to film. And he says that oftentimes you have to make changes to make the story flow better to accommodate the medium of film, because it wouldn't translate to film exactly the same way otherwise. In other words, the audience would be lost at some point. So if you're going to make any major changes, talk about why. For instance, on your doc sharing, the piece that I have as an example is Macbeth is a lady. In that piece, what they've done is they've basically made all the main characters female. Um, and they're doing that specifically to highlight the struggle of gender and power. Um, Talked about in Macbeth, particularly emphasized in the character of Lady Macbeth, but they're bringing that to the forefront by casting all of the characters as female. Okay, so that would be an example of if you were going to change something, change a character or someone. Why are you doing it? And that would be an example of why, because it speaks directly to the theme in that particular case. Okay, so that is plot, scene, and dialogue. Actually, one more thing I need to emphasize with that. The last line that I have written under plot, scene, and dialogue: compare at least one line from the original with the equivalent line from your hypothetical version and discuss the rationale behind the specific changes. Okay? Specific revisions. So I'm not asking you to do a whole script. That would just be cruel and brutal at this point. Okay. When I began this term with you, one of my goals was that I stated very upfront in class was that I wanted you to leave I would feel like the class was a success if you left the class having a better appreciation, a better relationship with the written word, okay, than you did coming in. Okay, so for one, I'm not going to have you write an entire script in a couple of days because I think that would just kill it, and that's not what I want to do. But what I want to do is I want to see if given the opportunity, if given the time to create a full-on script / screenplay for something like this, what would you do? What kind of sensibilities would you have? So what I'm asking you to do is to pick a line from the original and then pair it with a revision, okay, that reflects the sensibilities of what you want to do, of your version, okay, of your would-be version. I'm asking for one line here, not an entire script, okay? So, the fifth Roman numeral is really a lot of people's favorite who've done this project in the past. That's casting. And so what I'm asking here, reading from the actual assignment prompt, whom would you cast in the roles of which characters? How would these choices represent your vision of these characters? Obviously, we're short on time, So you only need to discuss the casting of 3 characters. Now, some people enjoy this casting part so much that they go all out, and they might discuss 5 or 6 characters or more. Okay, but I'm actually asking you to look at potential actors for potential roles, and remember the prompt says you have an unlimited budget, right? So if you want Denzel and Will Smith and Taraji P Henson, somebody like those people like that. Don't you have the budget to do it, okay? In this hypothetical world, okay? So, but tell me why these particular actors fit with your visions for these particular characters, okay? And beyond that, you can take it in many different directions. You can, in other words, an example is assign theme music to different characters. That's been done before, and so forth. Now, you are not going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation on this because we're doing a field trip again on Thursday in lieu of the PowerPoint presentation. So if you want to incorporate pictures into your essay, you can. Okay, if you want to incorporate visual images into your essay, you can. I'm pretty much open as to the content of your essay, so long as you are able to cite what you put in and you use a works cited page and it does follow APA format as closely as you can. Also, as I said in class, and again, some of you viewing this, part of the reason why you're viewing it is that you haven't been present in class for whatever reason, family vacation, work, what have you. But as I've said in class, you can work in teams on this. Okay, I just ask if you do this, if you do that everyone contribute equal shares or agreed upon shares. Please do not disrespect your classmates, your team members by not contributing effectively. Okay, that's my main concern with that. Now, this assignment is to be turned in Wednesday of next week, i.e. Wednesday of week 4, as your online attendance assignment. Okay, so if you're working in teams, you need to make sure that everyone with whom you are working's name is on that version that gets submitted. Okay, so make sure if you're the person who is submitting it, you only need 1 submission per group. Okay, but make sure if you are submitting it that everyone with whom you are working's name is on it, so that everyone gets appropriate credit and everyone gets appropriate attendance. Okay. Again, as I said before, I'm going to be out Tuesday. Tuesday is designated as the class period for working on this assignment. In effect, many of you could get this knocked out Tuesday and then just turn it in Wednesday for your attendance. Okay, it needs to be turned in on Wednesday during the allotted times, 12:01 a.m. to 11:59 p.m., so that I can properly record participation. Okay, but you're going to have the full 3 hours on Tuesday to address this assignment, and you're going to have an incredibly capable instructor there to help facilitate you working on this piece. I'm going to give him a copy of the assignment and give him a link to this video as well, so he won't be entirely clueless as to what we're doing either. Okay, so again, I have every confidence that each and every one of you can do very well on this. I do and I can't emphasize this enough, please, please, please proofread your materials before you submit it. There is no reason for excessive grammatical error. Uh, that sort of thing is completely avoidable. So just try to turn in the best piece that you possibly can that's representative of your ability. Okay? Alright, I'm going to sign off on this video. I will see most of you in class tonight. If you indeed are seeing this today, tonight we're going to finish looking at Macbeth and then move into the discussion of this project. Alright, thank you.